I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video where I got a PayPal request, a very interesting one from Jordan, who wanted my thoughts and ranking on the voices for the Ninja Turtle Raphael, since I am a fan of the character. And it's hard to go through every single one because there's been quite a few iterations. Even on the 80s cartoon, there were times where they went and other alternate voices for Raphael. I mean, I could try to include them on here, because it's hard when it's just one or two, I want to say episode, but like the main ones that people think about off the top of their head, those are ones that come to mind. But I mean, I'll do my best on that. With that said, thank you so much. This is, like I said, a PayPal request. If you're interested in sending any type of request of video review, or it could be a topic like this, any type of topic, you can either do it directly via my PayPal, or you could be part of my Patreon. Either way, the links to both are down below in the info box. Now, the list I put together here, I'll just go from my favorite to my least favorite. And I'll try to remember the other ones along the way, because either it's video games I've never played, so I don't have the most knowledge on them. But my favorite voice of Raphael is the 1990 film, Josh Pais. I thought he voiced it pretty perfectly. He was the one that introduced sort of the Brooklyn, New York type of accent. I thought that fit the character fairly well. Also, it helped with the writing, because this is a type of character that actually cursed. Granted, saying damn, but considering all the other iterations, sadly that's the most you're going to get out of it, sad to say. But Josh Pais, he definitely brought that attitude and vibe, and that New York fucking accent, you know, the new fucking New York, that just fit the character perfectly. And I think in future iterations that should be kept. That's just my opinion. Speaking of which, my second favorite is the 2003 cartoon voice for Raphael, Greg Abbey. The 2003 Ninja Turtles cartoon is my favorite cartoon. And funny enough, I grew up with the 1987 original cartoon. I liked it that's what grabbed me, pulled me into this fandom. And I know I'm stumbling over my words, because I don't want to say that the old cartoon sucks, because I really don't feel that way. It's not a cartoon that I watch much nowadays. It's one of those things I do chalk up to I liked it more as a kid than I do nowadays. But I can still watch it and enjoy it, not only for fun, nostalgia memories, but for entertainment value. I do think the voice actors do their jobs well. Some fun animation, although there's a lot of mistakes when you watch those old animated cartoons. In that show, certain turtles have the wrong voice or the wrong mask. But it's still a fun cartoon, but I much prefer the 2003 cartoon. That's the one I would go watch in front of the others. And it's become one of my favorite things about Ninja Turtles in general. But speaking of the voice itself, it brought more of that New York attitude and gruffness. and definitely felt like someone who would be a badass, would be a fighter, he felt tough. Great Abbey's voice. I didn't have to think, oh, is this guy a tough guy? No, I felt it from his voice and his deep gruff, but it's not too guttural. It's not Christian Bale or Adrian Brody from Predators. So I don't want to say baritone, but the deeper voice worked fairly well for that character, and that's why Great Abbey is number 2. Number 3, I was trying to think if this would be number 2 because when I saw this as a kid, it fooled me because I thought it was the same voice. But Laurie Faso from Secret of the Ooze, Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze, because again, when I saw this quite a few times as a kid, I thought it was the same voice actor from the 1990 movie. So part of me is like, well, that's fairly impressive to me. Maybe I should put it ahead. But Great Abbey I put a slight above. Granted, maybe because Josh Pais was the first Raphael voice that I liked him in the cartoon, but that's the one that really made me highly enjoy the character. Not only the way he acted in the 1990 movie, but the voice work. Great Abbey, he had the luxury of having multiple seasons and multiple episodes to be consistent on that. And Laurie Faso did a good job too as the voice of Raphael in Secret of the Ooze. Granted, the character was toned down a little bit from the first movie because it was a little bit more for kids. But I still love Secret of the Ooze. I know a very nice guy actually requested me to re-review the first 3 live-action films, which I'll be doing sometime down the road. But Laurie Faso, again, for fooling my butt, fooling my ass, thinking he was Josh Pais. And yeah, I love Secret of the Ooze. I love that film. As corny as it can be at times, I do think Laurie Faso fit the character fairly well. Still brought that bit of accent to it. And underrated, because no one ever mentions him. They always mention Josh Pais, or maybe Great Abbey, or Rob Paulsen. But no one ever mentions Laurie Faso, so I definitely think he'd be my vote for the most underrated voice of Raphael. So I put him in number 3. For the top 5, I put number 4, Nolan North from the 2007 CGI movie. Now, granted, I'm not the biggest fan of that film. In retrospect, it's a masterpiece compared to the Michael Bay produced Drek and bullshit. I just have issues with the villains, and since so many years have gone by, you could have done more with Donnie and Mighty, and more with the friendship between the 4 turtles, since you've seen what happened in the past with those movies. Hey, what can we improve on? You didn't do that. But it's a good-looking movie. And I never have a problem with the voice of Raphael. I mean, I have issues with that movie, but the voice of Raphael was never one of them. He didn't sound like a wimp. He didn't sound like a weakling. You know, I was hearing that voice, okay, I could buy that being this type of character, that he would dress as the Night Watcher and be a vigilante. And he didn't sound like a dweeb. He didn't sound like a dork. He didn't sound fake or phony. He fit the character fairly well, Nolan North. So, again, I would put him as number 4. Number 5, perhaps for nostalgia reasons, but for the type of show it is, it worked well, and that's Rob Paulsen for the 1987 TMNT cartoon. I mean, for the type of cartoon it is, it's much more kid-friendly, much more silly, much more goofy, much more out there. It's a definitely different interpretation of Raphael compared to the original comics it was based on, where he's much more of chatterbox smartass, breaking the fourth wall. And funny enough, you watch that cartoon, the first couple episodes, the turtles have a bit more attitude than them. And then after the first couple episodes, they lessened on that. And granted, getting older, I grow less and less into the way the Turtles are, where they're just goofy, silly, but that was the time it was made. I still have fond, nostalgic memories of it. For the show that it's trying to be, it still did it fairly well. And Rob Paulsen, I complimented that character. I complimented the jokes and the sarcastic quips and the wise-assness in terms of a kid's cartoon level. And then funny enough, it would be Donatello, the voice of that in the 2012 cartoon. So those are my top 5. If I add other voices to that, believe it, I'll get to the lesser ones. Probably after that, I would put, I forget the name, but the voice of Raphael in the Batman versus TMNT. Again, I have issues with that movie. Hell, one thing I'll admit is my fault. I completely missed. I like, Raphael did nothing. Oh, he hit the shredder. And then I found it on YouTube, and it was literally one of those, I blinked or I looked down to get something. I came up and it was already gone. So it was literally, swear to God, one of those instances, but I'll put that as my fault. But it just, I felt some characters were not utilized well. I thought Batman was way too OP. Of course he is, because it's DC and Batman's their character. And I just have issues with that movie. Batman, on a side note, I'm getting sick and fucking tired of Batman. I know it's not popular. I like the character, but I'm getting tired of his OP, fucking defeat everything. If he had a fist fight with fucking the world, literal planet Earth, he'd beat it with a pinky. I mean, that's how OP sometimes Batman gets, and 85 fucking iterations of Batman. It's like, okay, I'm getting a bit sick of it. That's why I don't give a shit about the new Batman. Whether Robert Pattinson's playing him or not, I'm like, I don't need to see another goddamn Batman. I'm tired of it. Are there no other DC characters you have? I'd rather see another interpretation of Green Lantern over another fucking Batman. I'd rather see, I forget the fucking guy's name, is a cue ball, and he's got like purple, like he's got a pink orange body, and then he bald albino head, and he can like morph into all these different things. I forget the fucking character's name. Make a movie about him. This is a tangent. But that voice, Raphael, I had no problem. I don't remember having a ton of issues with that voice. Maybe I didn't love it as much as the others. I can't remember what I said about it in the review. But, I could fit him in there compared to the other ones. The Out of the Shadows video game. I never played it. I heard some clips of it. I can't remember the voice actor for it. I guess I would fit him on that level too. Just like, I don't know if his voice fits the best, but I don't know if it's really the voice or just the shitty dialogue he's given during that video game. And I'm talking about the video game Out of the Shadows, not the movie. It wasn't my favorite. And then people don't be surprised that they would think this is number 1. Even though I hate these movies, if I'm going to be fair, I still think it sucks and shitty. But after that would be Alan Ritchson. Granted, he'd be on the bottom 4 worst voice acting of Raphael. Can I really sit here and say he's the worst one? I hate the Michael Bay produced movies, but to be fair, no. He still sucks. He still sounds like he's trying to be fucking Christian Bale, or... Actually, I forgot one. I mean, before I get to him, I completely forgot about Sean Astin as the voice. Kind of says a lot why he'd be lower on the list since I completely fucking forgot him. But in the 2012 cartoon, I put him above the Michael Bay, Alan Ritchson one. Because Sean Astin, I still don't think he fits as Raphael. I don't. If someone were to ask me what do I think is the most overrated voice actor, Raphael, it'd be Sean Astin. I like him as an actor. Rudy, The Goonies. But as the voice of Raphael, maybe because Sean Astin does, I hate to say it, he doesn't sound tough. He doesn't sound like a badass. He works well in action films when he's playing the normal kid like Toy Soldiers with him and Louis Gossett Jr. I don't buy him if they were to cast him in an action film where he's the Terminator or he's the vigilante, blah, blah, blah. People say, well, that's not how Raphael needs to be. Well, we agree to disagree. What about Rob Paulsen? Well, maybe because that's nostalgia goggles, or maybe because that fits the tone of a very goofy, silly show. 2012, it kind of is trying to be goofy, silly, and it's trying to kiss the ass of the 1987 cartoon, but at the same time, it's trying to do some halfway serious stuff at times, too. So, to me, the first season and a half, or 2 seasons, it was fine, but then I thought it shit the bed. I'm alone in that. And the 2012 cartoon became something I liked less and less, and I hated more and more. Mainly that's due to a lot of the writing, including how Raphael was written, because I think he was written like a fucking pussy, and I know no one agrees with that, but when I see a show and he's afraid of fucking horses, and every fucking time he has an episode, it's because of a mess up he made, because of a fuck up he made. So someone took our pictures because I fucked up. So the episode is about him trying to get the pictures back. Oh, I fucked up the spy cam Donnie had. So now it's this mutant thing that's trying to kill us all. And then Raphael hides like a pussy. And then he finally does something. Oh, we have all these vampires and monsters. Nope, he's the first to get bit, turned to a vampire, and Mikey has him on a leash for the entire fucking episode. Oh, the entire world's going to be destroyed because he brought this creature home and its mama is like Godzilla on steroids and is pissed and wants him. See what I mean? Like, oh, Slash. Oh, he was created because Raphael left the mutagen because he's a fucking idiot and didn't pay attention, and then because he said all this stupid shit about his brothers when Slash was mutated from his pet turtle. He was crazed for like 5 minutes, and then next time you saw him, he was an ally. That's what I mean, like the writing. So maybe it's not Sean Astin's fault. Maybe it's I think it's shitty writing. I know I'm the only person that thinks that. So be it. But his voice, his tone, I never bought him as the voice of Raphael. He just doesn't sound right to me. Doesn't sound right to me at all. I don't buy any toughness or strength as in physical strength, which is what this character is trying to portray as. Like he's supposed to be the resident badass, but he's barely a badass, and his just voice never fit for me. I'm sorry. I know that's not popular, but if this was a list of most overrated voices, Rob Paulsen would be at the top of the list. As it is, I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would honestly put the voice in the Batman vs. TMNT, and maybe even the voice in the video game Out of the Shadows above Sean Astin. And then it would be Alan Ritchson. And yeah, I don't like Alan Ritchson as the voice of Raphael in those movies. Maybe it's just shitty stuff he was given. I know there's an interview where he had a horrible time working on it. Well, I had a horrible fucking time watching it. So I guess we're in the same boat on that. Maybe it's because he was given... He sounded like Raphael was 50 years old at times. Like a 50-year-old wannabe Christian Bale. Sounds like if your dad was trying to be a teenager. I know that sounds stupid, but I didn't buy him. Why is he not the lowest of the low? Because even though I didn't like him, I don't think he fit. It sounds dumb, but I can't say his voice made me cringe. Does that make sense? His voice didn't make me cringe. Like, it was more like eye rolling. Oh, brother, okay. More like that. Granted, the movie he was in, both that and Out of the Shadows, the 2016 movie, made me want to pew Dayglow and cringe. It made my balls ache. But his voice, it was more cringe. Like, maybe a better director, maybe better producer, maybe better scripts, but no. There's other actors maybe. But even if you had other actors. But as the voice itself, I say he sounds like an old ass. Not that, oh, hey, Sonny. Not that kind of old, but somebody would be Raphael's dad and not Raphael. Like if there was another turtle who was their dad, it'd sound like him or something. And someone even makes a joke in the movie. Oh, he's doing this Christian Bale. He's doing his Batman voice. I don't need to hear a fucking Batman voice. Now, my top 3 worst. Can't believe is that. But, I mean, if I'm being fair, I'm being fair. Tim Kelleher, who voiced Raphael in the Ninja Turtles 3. Granted, the movie I would rather watch than Michael Bay's produced crap. But the voice of Raphael, he just seemed... He seemed like he would be on that TV show Dinosaurs. Like one of Earl's friends. Like, hey, how's it going? Huh? Oh, funny. I listened to him, I'm going, he sounds like a buddy of a guy who drank beer or drank whatever on a sitcom from the 80s. Or someone that would be, if Archie Bunker was the same age, it'd be his buddy. I don't know how to put it. He sounds... I don't buy his wannabe... It seems like he's trying to sound New Yorker, but if this guy's a real New Yorker, maybe he's a fake New Yorker. I don't know. Maybe he's from a different part of New York. I don't know. And if not, then it just failed. This is what really time. It sounds like someone badly trying to impersonate the voice of the 1990 and 1991 Ninja Turtle movies. Like they're trying to impersonate it, but they're doing a shitty, piss poor job of it. I don't know how else to describe it. The second worst is Omar Benson Miller for Rise of the TMNT. Maybe it's the way the character's written, where Raphael's just about 3 steps away from "We're the rabbits" of Mice and Men. He literally sounds like 3 steps away from Lenny of Mice and Men. That's what that... And I did... There were a few episodes online. I watched it. I wanted to drill my fucking eyeballs out and shove them up my ass because the view would be better than watching this piece of shit fucking cartoon. Just when you think it can't get worse, it gets worse and worse and worse. Oh yeah, Raphael's the leader and doesn't do shit. And then the way he's voiced, just goofy. You're a goofy goober, yeah. You're a goofy goober, yeah. Omar Benson Miller, you're a goofy goober. That's what you sound like, a goofy fucking goober. You don't sound like Raphael, you sound like a chode. A goofy chode. But not as goofy as the worst one. Which honestly for me, I have to be honest. It's weird I say that as if I'm gonna lie. I gotta stop saying that. To be, my honest opinion as opposed to what other opinion. Matt Hill, who voiced Raphael in Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. That to me is the absolute worst voice. Barring thoughts on the show. But that sounds like people who are just not trying. Who are just not giving a fuck. I hate the word cheesy, but that sounds cheesy. You listen to Matt Hill on Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation is the voice of Raphael. That's cheesy. And Granted, maybe he was told to do that because it's linked to Power Rangers, which is one of the reasons I didn't grow up with Power Rangers. I did see clips of it. I'm like, this is not for me. He sounds like a poser. And the show itself, it's very campy. Sound effects is very silly. At least they're the stars of it, which is more than I can say for the Michael Bay produced movies. They didn't have the budget, so I give more leans to them than fucking $100 million those movies probably cost from 2014 to 2016. But the voice of Raphael, that's cringe-inducing to listen to. Don't blame me, give it a listen. Whether you like or dislike the show, just listen to the character and you go, are you high? You think you're going to fly any minute now? Is that kind of voice? Is that really your voice? You just say it for all the turtles, except the voice of Venus. Well, that character gets a lot of shit. I don't think that character was that bad. I honestly think she was one of the better parts of the show because it's something different. Granted, she seemed better than the actual turtles, which was, I think, the mistake they made. But the actual voice acting and even the look of the character, the other ones looked like they weren't even finished. But this is not about the show, this is about the voice of Matt Hill. Like, that voice was fine. Matt Hill, he sounds like a wannabe bully in a Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell episode, or one of those California Dreams. You know, here's a guy who's trying to be tough on California Dreams, or whatever the fuck show. That's what this sounds like. So yeah, Matt Hill, I would say, is the worst one to me. So the worst ones, if it's a top worst, Matt Hill, the Omar from Rise of the TMNT, I think I said Alan Ritchson. No, the guy from TMNT 3. Shows how much I want to forget that. I mean, if I add in some of the side voices on the 87 cartoon that just felt it sounded off, it makes me go, what the hell happened? Could they not get Rob Paulsen bad for those episodes? Hey, you know that Ninja Turtle documentary that those... They'll never see this, but you schmotes made, you fucking idiots made? Maybe that's could have been some of the answers you could have answered in your definitive documentary, you fucking idiots. That's harsh. Yes, it is harsh. And they can also suck my dick. That's harsher. But that's another tangent. One day I gotta rant on that fucking documentary again, just for shits and giggles, but anyway. If I add them into it, I would put them either above or below Alan Ritchson. I don't know. But my favorites would be Josh Pais, Great Abbey from TMNT 2003, the Laurie Faso from Secret of the Ooze, the guy Nolan North from CGI TMNT, and then Rob Paulsen from the 87 cartoon. That'd be the top 5. By the way, I hope you enjoyed, Jordan. Thank you for the request via PayPal. If anyone ever wants to request any other types of topics, could be any random topics you want, you can do so via my PayPal. If not, no worries. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.